Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking on what might be the single most high-stakes conversation anyone can have.
We're dissecting the structure of breaking bad news. And we're not using, soft advice. This is from high-priority guides used to train medical professionals.
The kind of material that governs life or death decisions. Our mission is to pull out that structure so you can apply it in any context where the stakes are high.
And bad news is really any information that just fundamentally alters a person's view of their future. A diagnosis, a project failure, anything.
Right. And the framework we're looking at is designed for, well, for clarity, compassion, and probably most importantly, safety.
That's it. These professional standards boil down to three things you absolutely can't skip. A clear structure, respecting the person's autonomy, and crucially, the follow-through. You can't just leave them hanging.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're essentially giving you the professional's framework. It's about how you prepare, how you warn them, say it plainly, pause, plan, and then document everything.
And if you miss one of those steps, it's a failure. It really is. The structure isn't there to protect you, the speaker. It's there to provide psychological safety for the person hearing the news.
So let's start with that foundation, the first part. Preparation and autonomy. Before you even think about the words you're going to use, the setting has to be right. Why is that so non-negotiable? Why can't you just, get it over with in the hallway?
Because the hallway is a violation of basic respect. It's a failure of compassion right out of the gate.
Okay.
Disclosing serious news in a public space, or even while you're standing up, it just signals that you don't grasp the weight of what you're about to say.
So there's a literal checklist here. A private space. Sit down. No interruptions. And have things like tissues ready. These small things, they're not really small, are they?
They're huge nonverbal cues. They reduce the immediate distress before you've said a single word of the actual news.
And once the room is right, the focus shifts to their autonomy. This is the P&I from that Spikes protocol we hear about, right? Perception and invitation.
Exactly. You are ethically and often legally required to find out two things. First, what do they already think is going on? And second, how much detail do they actually want to hear right now?
I think so many of us skip that first one, the perception check. We just assume we know what they know and we launch right in.
And that can be a massive psychological shock. If they're walking in expecting good news and you hit them with the worst, it's brutal.
Whereas if you ask first, you might find out they've already been fearing this.
Precisely. And then you can tailor your tone. So the model phrase we recommend is something like this, you say. Before we start, could you share with me what your understanding is so far and how much detail you would like me to go into today?
That one question is doing so much heavy lifting. It's tailoring the message, respecting their boundaries. It makes it a conversation, not a declaration.
It absolutely does. And if they say, just give me the bottom line, no stats, you have to respect that. You have to document you respected that. Their autonomy is the most important thing in that moment.
Okay, so the table is set. We know what they know. We know what they want to know. Now, the actual delivery, the knowledge stage. Here's where it gets really interesting because you can't just blurt it out, but you can't hide it in vague language either.
This is where you have to use what's called the warning shot. It's a simple phrase that signals the conversation is about to turn serious. It gives them just a split second to brace themselves.
So what's the model for that? How does that sound in practice?
It's a 3-beat structure, warning shot, then the plain word, then validation. So, for example, I'm afraid I have some difficult news to share. The biopsy shows cancer. I'm so very sorry to have to tell you this.
And the clarity there is non-negotiable. The sources are really clear on this, aren't they? Using only ambiguous euphemisms is a major red flag.
It's a critical failure. It's so tempting to soften the blow by saying something like, well, things aren't looking too good.
But the person could walk away thinking it's a minor issue.
Exactly. And that ambiguity prevents them from making correct, timely decisions. The rule is you give the gentle warning, and then you must use the plain words. Cancer, failure, termination, whatever it is.
And then, the hardest part.
Yeah.
Once you've said that plain, clear word, you have to deal with the silence.
Yes, this is the empathy stage. And this is where so many well-intentioned people get it wrong. They panic. The absolute key action is state the news and then stop talking.
But that silence, when someone is in shock or crying, it can feel unbearable. You just want to fill it to fix it.
You do, but you can't. You must not rush to reassurance. Don't say, don't worry, we have options, or it could be worse. That's about making you feel better, not them.
So what do you do instead?
You name and validate their emotion. You just acknowledge their reality. You can say something like, I know this must be a huge shock, or it sounds like you're feeling completely overwhelmed. That is a completely natural reaction. That's what builds trust.
So, because this is such a precise sequence, we need a way to remember it. We've mentioned spikes, which is great for the overall flow. Setting, perception, invitation, knowledge, empathy, strategy.
It is. It's the philosophy. But
Man.
the sources also give a more practical, I think, superior mnemonic. It's a full checklist for the entire interaction called WARM plan.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. Spikes is the what, warm plan is the how. Let's break that down.
Right. So WARM is the immediate crisis management. W is for warn. That's your warning shot.
Okay.
A is for ask understanding. That combines the perception and invitation steps we talked about.
We're checking what they know and want to know.
R is for respond to emotion. That's the pause, the silence, the validation. And M is for make plan. And this is a very small, immediate plan. Something like, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll talk about who to call next.
Just the very next step.
Okay.
So that's WARM. That gets you through the initial shock. The PLAN part seems to be about what happens after, the continuity.
Exactly. This is what turns it from just a bad conversation into a professional, safe intervention. P is for paperwork. Give them something written, a leaflet, a link. They won't remember what you said. And you document the conversation immediately.
Oh.
L is link team. Let the other key people know, their family doctor, their manager, so that the person doesn't have to repeat this awful story over and over.
That's huge. Okay, A.
A is arrange follow-up, a concrete time. I will call you tomorrow at 10 a.m. to see what questions have come up. It's a safety net. It tells them they are not alone.
And finally, N.
N is next steps agreed. Before they leave, you confirm their understanding of the plan. You say, so just to be clear, the next step is that you'll go home, talk to your partner, and I will call you tomorrow. You need to hear them say yes.
It's a closed loop, isn't it? It checks that your communication actually landed.
If they can't tell you the next step, you haven't communicated effectively, no matter how kind you were.
So let's flip this around. Let's talk about the traps, the things this structure is designed to prevent. What are the big red flags?
Most of the major complaints and failures come from the environment and the follow-up, or lack of it. So number 1, corridor disclosures. Never, ever do it. No privacy.
Obvious, but it happens. What else?
Using only ambiguous euphemisms, as we said, it misinforms the patient. And then no safety net or follow-up. That's just abandonment, professionally speaking. And finally, not documenting the conversation. That's a huge medical legal risk.
The sources also talk about these decoy detectors. Answers in a test scenario say that sound reasonable but are actually wrong, like deliver the news quickly and leave. Why is that such a trap?
Because it completely ignores R, M, and the entire PLAM half of the checklist. It's efficient, maybe, but it shows a total lack of regard for the person's emotional state or their safety after they walk out the door. It's professionally indifferent.
What about the other one? Wait weeks for all the results before saying anything. That sounds so cautious and thorough.
But it's actually cruel. It just prolongs their anxiety, and it withholds confirmed important information they might need to start making plans or gathering support. You share what you know for sure now, and you manage the uncertainty using the WARM plan structure.
A quick logistical question. What about on the phone? Is that ever okay?
Face-to-face is always, always the gold standard. If you absolutely have to do it remotely, you have to be even more rigorous with the structure. You still confirm privacy, you use the warning shot, you allow for silence over the phone, and you must arrange an in-person follow-up as soon as possible.
What if a family member is in the room? Do you just include them?
Never automatically. You have to ask the patient explicitly for permission. You turn to them and say, would you like your partner to stay for this discussion? It's their information, their autonomy.
Which brings us to the final crucial step. Documentation. This isn't just about covering yourself, is it?
Not at all. It's the evidence that you acted safely and compassionately. It's the tool that ensures continuity of care.
So what specifically needs to be in that note?
You need to be thorough. Who was there? Exactly what was said. And you should write the word cancer was used. Then the patient's immediate understanding of the news, the questions they asked, any written info you gave them, the immediate plan, the safety net, and who in the wider team you've told.
Wow. So it's a complete narrative of the intervention. It acts as a beacon for the next person who interacts with them.
That's a perfect way to put it. It turns a terrible moment into a structured, safe process that continues long after you've left the room.
This has been an incredibly practical deep dive. Let's try and boil it down to 3 core takeaways for anyone listening.
Okay. I'd say the first is Always ensure a private, prepared, and structured conversation. The preparation itself is a form of compassion.
Second, use that warning shot, followed by plain, unambiguous words. No euphemisms. Then allow for the silence. Let them process. You validate the emotion. You don't try to fix it with premature reassurance.
And third, use warm plan as your full checklist. Don't forget the second half. Confirm their understanding, agree on a concrete plan, give them something in writing, set up that follow-up call, and document everything.
These guides give us a rigorous checklist for medicine's toughest talks. But the core skills here, preparing, asking what the other person already knows, validating their feelings, these are essential for leadership in any field. So here's our challenge to you. Think about the PLAN part of that mnemonic. The paperwork, linking the team, arranging follow-up, and next steps agreed. Which one of those do you tend to skip in your own tough conversations, and what do you think the long-term cost of that might be?
It's a great question because structure provides safety and clarity, especially when the truth is a difficult one.